Good morning, folks. I went to the local craft shop, and if you're old or if you live in a very small town, you will have heard of Ben Franklin's. At Ben Franklin's, I bought all these beads. They're glass beads. They're kind of nice quality. $4 for 200. I bought them in purple red, yellow, and teal. My goal is to have them in the three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and also in the secondary colors, orange, purple, and green. I'm also going to want some in white and black, some in gold, some in silver. A color that you must have for any kind of fishing, for any kind of lure, is chartreuse. Sometimes that's just what works. Something else you need to have are these little barrel swivels. This is a size 10. That's just a matter of preference. The 10 is very small. You will need some octopus hooks. These are number 2s and number 4s. This little thing right here is called a clevis. You need one of those for each rig. And of course, I have a nice variety of spoons, different sizes, different shapes, different colors. Some of them are Colorado and some are Indiana. The Indianas are more elongated and the Colorados are a little bit less so. They're kind of egg-shaped in both cases. I eventually want to have all the same colors I mentioned before: red, white, black, yellow, blue, orange, purple, green, as well as some gold and silver. I'm going to want something that is chartreuse and pretty much anything else that catches my eye. Right here I have 20-pound test fluorocarbon. The fluorocarbon is really good in that it doesn't get chafed as easy. It doesn't get nicks in it. It just holds up longer. It doesn't soak up water the same way that your monofilament does. So it will float a little bit longer, a little bit better. Now let's get to work on this. I'm going to go with this simple green spoon. You want to match the color beads to the colors that are on your spoon. So some spoons, you might use 2 or even 3 different colors of beads. You see that these both have multiple colors. I'm keeping it simple. I'm going to go with 6 of these green beads. On top of the spoon, I'm going to put this one white bead. It's actually pearl. You can forego that. Not everyone does that. When I buy these, sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. Another thing some people do is they'll put the first 5 beads the color of the spoon, and then they'll have another white one on top of that, the spoon, and then yet another white one. So, rhyme or reason, I don't know. I'm going to put that one there because I think it's pretty. Let me show you what I mean. I have my goodies lined up here for this one rig. A spoon, some beads, there's the hooks, there's the clevis, and there's that little barrel swivel. This is not the way to do it. Ideally, you want to make a bunch of these. So you're going to want to just do your hooks first on some nice long fishing line. I have here a jig I made. These 2 nails are exactly 3 inches apart. So I will consistently have the same gap between my 2 hooks. And over here is a 30-inch mark. When I'm done, I want the tip of the hook to go from here and the end of the line where the barrel swivel is to be right there. I want them to be 30 inches or something very close to that at all times. All of these other lines are exactly 1 inch. At some point, I will determine, when I've done this enough, that this or this or this is the right place to be, so that after tying my knot to my barrel swivel, it'll end up at 30 inches. Anyhow, try to be consistent. The first of the 2 hooks is the smaller one. You should not use a no-knot knot for snelling this hook. It's the one on the end, and it's a remote possibility, but there's a very good possibility of it coming off. So what I'm saying to you is use any other knot. I'm going to use a uni knot. This is attached with a uni knot. It's a hook that goes on the very end, and it can't be a no knot again because that will just come off. But this will never go anywhere. It just gets tighter and tighter. This would be the application of Henry Ford's idea for an assembly line. That first hook was a number 2, and this is a number 4. I'm going to put the line through like this. See that? Now I use my jig to get that right where I want it. This is going to be exactly 3 inches from point to point. Pinch that on there. Wrap this around a bunch of times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 8 at least. 10 or more is okay. Go back through it like this and tie that, pull that real tight. You can use this for pulling. This is called dressing a knot when you gussy it up like this. Now I'm going to have exactly 3 inches. Now you see it looks like I lost the 16th or 32nd of an inch, and that doesn't matter. I'm trying to get them as close to 3 inches on every single rig. So what do? You tie a whole bunch of these with a little bit of extra line on there. In this case, I used 32 inches so that when you're all done, they're all exactly the same length. The gaps are all exactly the same, and you're being consistent. Feed your beads through there. One, two. I fed 6-millimeter beads through there. We're getting there. Feels really strong. Once again, this is a clevis. What we're going to do here is feed the line through the back. It goes through one eye of the clevis, the other eye of the clevis. And when you're done, it looks like that. And again, you go through the back side first, so that when you're done, the pretty side of the spoon is on the outside. And what that clevis does, it allows this to spin very nicely around your line. This is that extra step I mentioned before. I'm putting one white, in this case it's pearl bead. And this is done. This is essentially done. I just have to put a connector on the end, and this connector is called a barrel swivel. So I'm going to try and get it to where it's exactly 30 inches. Let's see how this turns out. I will use a Palomar knot to attach this. I like Palomar knots. They're very strong. They're so easy to do. There's my line. I'm about 2 inches longer than I want it to be, so this is 2 inches long. And when I'm done, it's going to be very close. Always cut that tag end off kind of close. Most of the time it's not necessary to completely eliminate it, and that little bit of a tag that hangs there actually keeps that knot from coming undone. Not that I expect this knot ever to come undone. Palomars are very strong. There is your finished product, and we're going to see how I made out on the length here. It is a 1/4 inch short. It's a 1/4 inch short of 30 inches, and that is perfectly acceptable. Almost perfect. 3-inch gap. Everything is exactly as I hoped it would be. Success! So this is how you do the knots. On the end of this harness is the stinger hook. It's a number 4. It's a little bit smaller. I'm going to put it on with a snell knot. Run it through the eye of the hook there and make a loop and wrap it around inside that loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop at 4, but you would do 5, 6, 7. The finer the line, the more loops you use. And this is essentially a uni knot used for snelling a hook, and it gets nice and tight. This is called dressing the knot, when you pull it together and line up your winds like that. I'm going to do it again for you. A little more line this time. 1, make a loop, start wrapping around the shaft. 2, 3, 4, and this time I'm going 5 loops. This time I'm going 5 winds, and you see how they line up nicely. If you do it carefully, they line up real pretty. That's called, again, dressing the knot. This is a good snell knot. It goes on that hook right there. This inline hook right here is going to have a no knot knot. There's a hook on this end. There it is. This other end goes through the eye. Your hook is over there, and then you just take this line that goes to your rod and you go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, or 7 or 8 or 10 or 12, whatever you want to do, depending on the size, the diameter of that line. And when you pull it through, you see how nicely that lines up? You see how pretty that knot dresses? And that's this hook right here. Then you go on and you add your beads, your spinner, another bead. There's a clevis there to make that spinner work nicely. Over here on this end, I have a swivel. It's a barrel swivel. Makes it easy to hook it up to the rest of my gear. So I'm going to do this one again. That hook right there is on the end here. That's your stinger hook. You run your line through the eye and keep pulling until there's 3 inches between those 2 hooks. And this line right here that goes out to your rod goes around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times and back through the eye. Give it a tug and they stay just like this, nice and tight and strong. You can see that the line went through this way because this eyelet is bent, and this eyelet also bent. The line goes through that way. That way when you're pulling the shaft of this hook nice and straight. You're pulling the shaft of this hook nice and straight in that direction. That's how it works. I have all my stuff ready here. Let's see how quick I can make one. All done. A beautiful Oneida Lake walleye harness. Ideally, this is 30 inches long when I'm done. And that's why I made this thing right here. And I would appear to be 30 and about ½ an inch or 3/8 of an inch long. This is perfect. I'm very pleased. Thank you very much. It took 6 minutes and 45 seconds to make that. And I was having trouble because my eyes are very poor and the lighting here is not very good. But this is really good. This turned out really nice. Look at that.